Welcome to Big Blend Radio, where we celebrate variety and how it adds spice to quality of life.
So welcome everyone to Big Blend Radio. As many of you know, we are moving into a new Big Blend Media House. You can go to bigblendmediahouse.com and you'll see the foundation is starting to be laid, literally pixel by pixel. You know, we've been on Blend Radio and TV.com, nationalparktraveling.com for years. Thousands and thousands of articles and podcasts. And now we're moving into a new home and we're going to take you every step of the way. Like I said, pixel by pixel. And as we do that, we're also relaunching our newsletter. It's called the Front Porch News. When you go to bigblendmediahouse.com, you're going to be able to explore by your interest category. Plus, you'll actually be able to tour this virtual house. So when you go in the music room, you'll be able to listen to music interviews and read music articles. When you go in the wine cellar, yes, we will have a wine cellar. You can listen to wine interviews or read articles, get recipes and pairing notes. So this really is this big house that's going to be building day by day. And as we say, it is our house is your house. The world is our neighborhood. And when it comes to our newsletter, it's about feeding your curiosity. That's why we're the Big Blend. And today we have David Kriso on the show. David is a travel writer, also a lecturer. He loves cruising and he loves trains. He loves Amtrak. So those are some major things for him. But he also likes a good steak, I believe. We're going to find out about this. And I encourage you to go to his website and check out more about what he does. It's all revamped as well. And it is dektraveljournal.com. So welcome back to the show, David. How are you?
Doing great, Lisa. How was your weekend?
It was good. We're in the forest in the Smoky Mountains area. So it's gorgeous. And you're in New Jersey, right?
Yes, I live in northern New Jersey, Bergen County, which is just about half an hour outside New York City.
Wow, so you're really close.
I live right near MetLife Stadium where the Giants and Jets play football.
That's your accent says so, though, too. You know that, right?
I have an accent?
You do. Oh my gosh, you do. Yes.
I never knew.
Really? You do. You do. David, do you like going to parks? Do you go to national parks or community parks? Like if you go to New York City, do you go to Central?
I've been to Central Park once a long time ago. One national park that's very close to me, about 90 minutes away, is the Gateway National Recreation Area,
Oh,
which
cool.
is home to the largest nude beach in all northeastern United States, called Gunnison Beach.
The largest nudie beach. And then, okay, if you go to Florida, Cape Canaveral National Seashore, they have a nudie beach too.
Right, and soon I'll be taking the train down to Hollywood, Florida, which is very close to Hullover Beach, which is the largest nude beach on the Atlantic coast. It's the rival to Gunnison Beach.
But of course, when you go to South Florida, you'll be near the Everglades National Park. Aren't you going to go on an airboat when you're there?
Yes, I'm going to be doing that the first day after I check in.
Oh, you're going to have a good time. You're going to see alligators, and it's beautiful. It's so nice. We love that area. David, what is it that got you into being a travel writer? And also, because I know you like to speak and teach people about cruises and where they can go and help them with their travel planning. What is it that led you to not just travel, but also share the stories?
It started with my part-time work with the cruise lines back in 2009 when I first started working on the shore staff in my area. And then And then came this one story I wrote from my hometown's newspaper called the Observer. I wrote this story about Amtrak's Student Advantage program. So that way college students, when they go to college in an Amtrak served city, they get 15% off on their fare. So I couldn't help but do a story on that, because I thought that the high school seniors who live in my hometown would benefit from that. And when I drafted that out and I submitted it to the editor-in-chief, and bang, it took off. That story was well appreciated.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so from there, you're like, oh, I'm going to do this again and do this again and start making this something serious.
I try. It's blossomed. Now I've been published in Trains Magazine just this past June, and I'm going to be doing another story for Trains Magazine which is a more of a railroad business magazine, a railroad business story on Amtrak's Silver Meteor, discussing the advantages and disadvantages of that route. And I'll be interviewing engineers and conductors from Amtrak via the Locomotive Engineers Union.
Very cool. Very cool. And so cruising and being on train tracks as a mode of travel has been something in your family, right?
Not in my family, but I it, the model railroading has been a big thing on my family side. My cousin, who passed away suddenly back in 2003, he and I shared the same love for the model railroading world. You know, he had HO layout in his basement. So did I. He had G scale layout in his basement. LGB, which is made in Germany. Now my family, we have a massive layout in our basement, all because of him. He introduced my parents into getting an LGB set up for my brother and I when we were little. So it just one follows the other, and traveling by train just became a love of mine after that.
Okay, so for those who don't know, what is an LGB?
LGB is German for Lehman Gross Bahn, which means large scale railroad.
So you did the train model thing in your basement.
Yes, not
Cool.
it's about 1,000 square feet of track across our
What?
basement, from our laundry room through my mom's office, through the walking area into the rec room. We once had a barn in our storeroom, but we kind of cut that out. But
Wow.
we
Okay, this is big.
we may have missed a year or two in between because of busy stuff. But to me, you can't argue with tradition. I love putting that up, and I like I put a CD in the stereo. I get the track out. I don't care how much my knees hurt after I'm done.
Okay, but you're doing this, so it's not out there all the time. When do you put it up? Is that a
No,
Christmas
I
thing?
we keep it up for about a month and a half, 2 months at most, and then we put it all away.
When do you put it up? Is there like a season for this?
We usually put it up like Thanksgiving, first weekend of December,
I see.
and
For
we
the
take it
holidays.
down late January.
Oh, but that's such a cool thing. And does it get the family united over this?
It does. It does. It usually
That's
brings a
cool.
lot of friends and family over.
It's really cool. And when you're putting it together, do you feel like this is what our country did to open up the country and connect the country? The railroad is what did it for our country, I believe. Do you feel that when you're putting it all together? Or is it just putting the towns together? What part of it is exciting for you?
What I like doing, what I love about it is just it's just exercising my mind.
Huh, that's a good point.
You have to understand, there's also a little bit of the mathematics to it. My brother and I, we both went to the same high school. We both took geometry, and my brother, once shared with me, and when you're putting this together, you have to think the geometry. You gotta think the angles of how you're running the track around. It's more than just putting the track down.
Yeah, well, I get it. And it's funny because when you're in high school, you don't think you really need geometry.
I just went to visit my high school on an alumni event, and they just rededicated a classroom that they totally gutted out, totally redid, renovated, $100,000 worth of renos to it. And it was one classroom I remember having a trigonometry in my junior year. And I'm like, whoa, what do they do here? I'm sure they probably do math classes with computers and so on. But, when I was 16, 17 years old, it was all out of the textbook.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. Yeah, it was textbook, but we also had that graph paper.
Yeah, that too. And we also had calculators.
We Yeah, and then we had to get to that big calculator. And then I went, I'm out. I'm going to go learn history instead. Like I'm not doing that. Are you ready for the 7 questions, David?
7 questions. Shoot.
And I do want to tell people that David will be back on Big Blend Radio soon to report on his trips to DC, recent trips to DC. Miami's coming up. Well, I do want to ask, were there cherry blossoms still going when you were there? Because you were worried that they may be over Were they over because you were just there?
I watched the National Cherry Blossom Festival parade, which was amazing. But as far as the cherry blossoms themselves, they were pretty much done.
No, okay. But did you have a good time?
That was a great time. I went to the U.S. Botanical Garden.
I can't wait to hear about that.
I checked in. I've never been to the Botanical Garden ever. It's right by the U.S. Capitol off Independence Avenue. I was floored by the place. And the exhibit was starting on that very day, April 10th. And it was on America's State Flowers.
Wow, because of America 250.
Exactly.
Well, so the state flowers, so they had all 50 flowers represented?
All 50 flowers represented in a display case, and then
Yeah, because you can't have them bloom year round. Yeah.
A variety of those flowers were showcased around the entire campus in a whole variety of greenhouses within the facility.
Wow.
I was just engrossed in the whole building itself.
Okay, we're going to get into these questions. All right, so David, what do you think is your spirit animal? What is an animal that represents you?
Has to be the lion.
The lion. Ooh. So why Simba? Why is Simba your animal?
I watched a couple of videos on Facebook and on YouTube, just how lions interact. They're just like us. They're just like humans. You know, they can be very much amongst themselves. They can be very reserved, but don't get them ticked off.
No.
And I am very, and this is really true. Sometimes I don't take a joke, and that gets me a little fried.
Oh. Well, lions are magnificent. So David, would you go to Africa to go see your spirit animal?
Yeah, I would.
He wants to go on a cruise ship though, but there's good train rides through Africa, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I've also seen the lions on the Kilimanjaro Safari down in Disney World at Disney's Animal Kingdom. And that's a beautiful attraction. That's a beautiful ride around. That's a 110-acre attraction, and you really feel like you're right there.
So this is interesting. So I want to ask you this before I get to the next question, because you do a lot of cruises, and it's interesting that Disney is part of cruises. Even Jimmy Buffett, rest in peace, Jimmy Buffett, Parent Land has his own cruise ship going to his own island. So this is like an extension of the whole theme park thing, is that now they have cruise ships from the theme parks, right? So do you know when that started? I mean, it's kind of like interesting how now, like Disney is kind of part of it all, right? The cruise ship world.
I remember going on Disney's first cruise ship. It was called the Big Red Boat. That was Premier Cruise Line. It was in the 90s, and it wasn't what I was expecting. It was an interesting concept, but as I was walking around the vessel on the ship, the Starship Atlantic, I started thinking, what does any of this have to do with Disney? I mean, it's just a little off. And then we went to Disney World for the last 4 days of the week before going home. Okay, I appreciated that better than the ship. And then short time later, that's when Mike Eisner decided we're going to build two ships of our own, because unfortunately, Premier Cruise Line just wasn't up to snuff.
I see.
It was a pilot. It was a pilot idea, but that's what led to Disney building their own two ships, the Magic and the Wonder, to start.
Okay. Wow. So then they start their own. Yeah. Okay. So I know that you do work hard and you also write and you do these lectures. What do you do for your own personal fun? I think I may know what it is, but what makes you happy as a human?
It's got to be music. I take voice lessons now.
Oh, as a singer?
Voice lessons since last summer.
What is your musical choice? Like, what do you like? And what do you like to sing?
Well, I try to follow my personal favorites. My voice teacher and I were working on a song by Jimmy Buffett. It's a song.
We're back to Buffett land. See, you are connected to cruise lines.
It's a song that he actually wrote back in 2012 called "Breathe In, Breathe Out, Move On."
Okay, cool.
And you have to listen to it. It's very emotional, but it's a tempo that I'm used to.
So do you sing karaoke when you go on cruise ships and when you travel?
No.
No karaoke.
I'm not a karaoke fan.
Oh, okay. So where do you sing? Like you taking classes? Is it for you personally? Or
Just me personally.
that's cool. That's cool. But come on now, David. When we get to New Jersey and we get to meet you in person, come on. Let's do karaoke. Come on. Would you do it?
Okay.
Okay. Because I would. I would. I would. I'd be like, come on, let's do it. It's fun. Okay. In your life, of everything you've done to this point, what is one life lesson you would pass down to the younger generation?
I learned this when I was 17, and I want everybody in the younger generation to remember this. Failure leads to success.
It does. Oh, okay, wait. Can I back up on this?
Yeah.
Because you just said something 100% of a program that we were involved in and still talk about. It's called the Eight Keys of Excellence.
Actually, when I was 17, I attended a camp program called Super Camp.
Yes, Bobby DePorter has been on our shows for years.
Wow, you know her.
We do. She's a friend.
Well,
Yes.
I attended Super Camp in
No
1994
way.
at their Westfield State location in Massachusetts, and I tell you what a life-changing experience that was. That was the best 10 days.
I can't even believe this. This is so cool. We have been to Supercamp headquarters. They internationally changed hundreds of thousands of lives. And we actually went through their education program where they teach teachers how children learn. And the Eight Keys of Excellence, we went as our travels, went across the country getting stories of the Eight Keys of Excellence. So when you said failure leads to success, I almost finished the sentence for you. I had to shut myself up. The first key of excellence is integrity. Failure leads to success, taking ownership of your actions. This is it. Live in the now. You know these eight keys of excellence.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? Does this not show how small the world is?
And then, Lisa, I attended their college forum program just the following summer before going to college. And then I became a staffer in 1997 at Colorado College, at their Colorado College location. And that was the first time I ever saw Pike's.
That's
And
amazing. I love this. I love this so much.
that was a beautiful location. I was out there for 5 weeks, and I tell you, it was challenging getting used to the high altitude.
Sure, absolutely. This brings tears to my eye. Bobby DePorter and Joe Chapin did so much for education. I'm kind of floored right now, David. Woo. Okay. So,
Hey, next question.
are you ready now? One item on your bucket list or wish list, however you want to look at it, that you're actively working on to actually make happen between now and 3 to 5 years. What is one of them?
I would say getting to Disneyland Paris or Disneyland Tokyo, because I've been to California, I've been to Anaheim, I've been to Disney World in Florida. I've been telling many of my colleagues at work, I gotta get on the plane, fly 13 hours to Tokyo, or fly 7 hours to Paris and experience that resort over there. I just have to. It's got to happen.
Wow. So it's going to happen. All right. Well, we're waiting. We're waiting for the story. All right. So now, David, go to our Big Blend Media House, our new virtual house. We're going to have a media room where you can go in and you're going to be able to listen to all our conversations with filmmakers over the years. So while we're in the media room, David, imagine if you had your own TV talk show just for a day. What would be your theme song? You like music. What would be your theme song that represents you?
You got me there. Okay, here's the song. It's the song if you think back to the ending credits of National Lampoon's European Vacation with Chevy Chase.
Okay. All right. We like this.
Okay. You know, in the very last scene where they were flying home and they rammed into the Statue of Liberty.
Okay.
And then
Trying to remember this.
And then the song comes on in the closing credits. The song's called "Back in America" by the band Network.
Ooh.
I thought that was Journey, but it was actually Network because the lead singer sounds exactly like Steve Perry.
Wow. Okay.
But it's a good song. You have to listen to it on YouTube.
Cool.
So Back in America by network.
Okay. We're going to create a playlist for this because everyone's got such great songs. Okay. Now, David, I know you like a good meal, right?
Yep.
You like a good steak, as I recall from our conversations.
Yes.
But now, someone invites you for dinner, right? A friend says, "Come over to the house for dinner." And you're like, "Sure." And they want to make sure you're not allergic to anything or have any food sensitivities, right? But you decide to go over there. And deep down, as you start driving there, you get that feeling of, I hope to hell they don't serve this, right? We all have that little feeling of not wanting a specific thing because we just don't like it. It just is what it is.
Hmm.
What is that meal that you don't want? And maybe you've been there before and they made it before and you're like, I don't want that again.
Actually, it's something that I've had. It's something that my family has had at some of its past events, and I'm glad I've never had it. I hope I never will. French onion soup.
Why? What?
I just don't like the smell of it, and
Wow.
I just don't like I don't like the sight of it. And you see something bubbling from underneath.
He's done.
You think like
Yeah.
one of those Puerto Rican tree frogs are
No,
stuck underneath.
it's
Like you,
beautiful onions sautéed with a beef broth and provolone cheese. It's delicious,
and
but not for you.
you think there's something stuck underneath there who's like he's trying to get out. I'm like, nope, sorry, salad, please.
Okay, what do you want on the table?
I'm more like a shrimp guy. I'm more of a charcuterie person. I'm more of a fruit and veggie platter guy. That's as well. If it goes down easy, if I can wolf a lot of it down, that's for me.
Okay, well that's your thing. Cool. Now, the last question. This is a big one. It's our Big Blend Media House. This thing is an estate. When we say our house is your house, the world is our neighborhood. We want our audience to come in and tell us what they want in the house. We want our experts, our family to tell us what they want in the house. It could be a room, it could be something in the garden, it could be a piece of furniture, it could be a decor item, it could be a bottle of wine. We have a wine cellar, of course, always. What do you want in the house?
Let's see. Definitely, I would keep it kind of like a restaurant with a real mix of a mixed menu. It's got to have the best steak choices. It's got to have the best pasta choices. It must have the best salad choices and the best sandwich choices.
This is in the house. The house. Home is going to have a restaurant in this.
Yeah.
That's your thing. Okay. A restaurant. So I thought you wanted a railroad room, but you went for the food.
And
Okay.
no matter where you go, no matter what you do, food's connected.
It is. And the whole point of this Big Blend Media House is that we all sit around the kitchen table and connect because everything happens around the kitchen table in life.
Mm-hmm.
I think we could have a restaurant portion of the kitchen, huh? That's a good idea. So that means we'd have to have a home chef, huh? To do that.
Yeah, who knows pizza too?
Do you think we need a wood-fired oven
I like coal fire more than wood fire.
for a pizza? Coal fire?
Yeah, I think coal fire, because coal fire also, wood and coal have a very distinct effect on the crust.
I have never had a coal-fired pizza in my life. I have no idea about that. I know wood fire, but I don't know anything about that. Zero. Where do you get that? Where do you get a coal-fired pizza?
They're they're not cheap to get. They're not cheap to build either. But coal fire or wood fire, they both either one play a distinct have a distinct effect on the crust.
Okay. I'm going to check that out now. Well, thank you. David, it's been fun. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Again, you'll hear more of David on Big Blend Radio. You can go to his website, dektraveljournal.com. You're going to see more of his posts as he travels more around DC, Miami, and beyond. And cruise ships are coming up and all kinds of good stuff. So thank you so much, David.
Thank you, Lisa, for having me again. I'll catch you later.
Thank you for listening to Big Blend Radio. Keep up with our shows at bigblendradio.com.